Hello everyone, tonight on the program, agriculture sector remains resolute despite COVID-19 shocks as it responds faster to key interventions than other sectors of the economy. We'll hear from government statistician.
The agriculture sector was relatively resolute to the pandemic in terms of its impact relative to the other sectors, i.e. if you look at the impact on the industry and the services sector, they were more impacting relative to the agriculture sector.
Deputy Minister Designate for Energy Andrew Ejapamesa faced the Appointments Committee today where he disagreed with former Energy Minister John Peter Mewu's description of the PDS ECG deal as fraudulent.
The corporate law principles are...
There will be more from him. Also coming up, only 13% of mineral royalties paid by mining companies returned to the mining companies, a reason behind underdevelopment of those communities. Ahead, we'll take you to Bibiani as jobless youth in the area demand release of concession of Mensen gold mines for community mining. Thanks for being with us. My name is Darryl Kwao. This is Business Live. Details right after this break. First story tonight, results from the agribusiness tracker conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service and the United Nations Development Programme indicate that although all sectors of the economy have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, the agri sector remains resolute. Now, despite being resolute, the sector, however, recorded a significant number of job losses as well as decline in sales. Here are some highlights in the following report.
The new data on the impacts of the pandemic on agribusiness in Ghana suggests it may take a little more time and support for businesses to recover. The data also shows a slow demand for goods and services of most agribusinesses, with over 77,000 firms, representing 61.5%, reporting a decline in sales within the post-lockdown period under review. The findings reveal an increase in the estimated number of job losses for agribusiness workers from 51,111 during the lockdown to over 78,000 in the post-lockdown period. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobuna-Ainen explains that although the sector is challenged, there is moderate resilience as compared to other sectors.
I would start by indicating that agribusinesses trans all the three sectors. Agribusinesses, you find it in agriculture, you find it in services, and you find it in industry sector. So one would have to be very careful comparing agribusinesses with the industry and the services sector because it cuts across the three sectors. But if you're looking at agricultural on its own relative to the other two sectors, as we've indicated in our GDP releases and in the earlier trackers, the agricultural sector was relatively resolute to the pandemic in terms of its impact relative to the other sectors, i.e. if you look at the impact on the industry and the services sector, they were more impacting relative to the agriculture sector.
Meanwhile, the survey also indicates that agriculture financing has seen an improvement of about 2% after the lockdown, and it's picking up marginally. Anthony Krakra is head of industrial statistics.
And 3 out of 10 agribusiness firms reported decrease in access to agriculture finance during and after the lockdown. The marginal increase in access to agriculture finance since the lockdown points to some improvement in access to agriculture. In other words, there's some improvement in the access to agriculture finance. Many of these firms say the reason why they have challenges with agriculture finance is the high interest rates. And many firms also reported that inability to financial products are a major cause of their of the problems they have with agricultural finance. And relatively, overdraft is not a very critical factor in terms of challenges in agricultural finance.
Despite some improvement in input supply post-lockdown, about half of agribusiness firms still have challenges in getting supply inputs.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Anthony Morrison, has urged government to harmonize all its flagship policies targeted at the agri sector in order to consolidate the gains. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
Look at the value chain. It's only few of the agribusiness players are able to regularize their businesses. So to even arrive at 33, I think that could probably be about 30% of the agribusinesses that have closed down.
But you know, Anthony, it beats my imagination, because we're having the Plenty for Food and Jobs program, we're having the Ghana Commodity Exchange, which forms as a basis for commodity pricing and even helping farmers at the farm gates. We're having several value chain of programs that government has implemented to ensure a smooth run of agribusiness in the country. So what exactly is going wrong? If you could help me in just a minute or two.
Well, you need a harmonization of all these government interventions, a coordinated policy that will streamline the various activities. For instance, if the government is investing into cereals and grains, you need to look at its rippling effect on the other sectors of the value chain, i.e. the livestock and the aquaculture and poultry, and how that can also support industries, i.e. pharmaceutical and the alcoholic or the beverage industry. So it's a value chain approach. If we invest in one sector and you are not providing the externalities of support for the other sectors, you may not be helping the industry. And growth is such that, development stages is such that you look at agri, you look at services, and you look at industries. That is how development works. And if you hinge development only on productivity and not looking at what the market opportunities are, and also the value addition and all the other externalities of it, then you may not be doing your interventions critically.
Turning to the mining sector, only 13% of mineral royalties paid by mining communities is returned to the communities where mining takes place. Now, out of this amount, 4.95% goes to respective district assemblies, whilst the Mining Community Development Scheme, set up under the Minerals Development Fund Act, receives 4%. Charles Nixon has more.
According to the 2020 Ghana Chamber of Mines report, 4.05% of the mineral royalty goes to the traditional authorities and stools in the host mining communities. In essence, the share of mineral royalty that is used to support development in mining communities is negligible. Obviously, this is woefully inadequate to address the infrastructural shortfalls in the host of the country's mineral world. It is on the premise that the Chamber of Mines continues to urge government to increase the host community's share of royalties to 30% and earmark same for specific sustainable infrastructure projects in the mining communities. Eric Esubonte is the president of the Ghana Chamber of Mines.
The poor state of mining communities is largely a function of the development status of the country, as well as an outcome of the mechanism for allocating and utilizing fiscal revenues realized from the extraction of mineral resources.
Apart from the statutory proportion of mineral royalty that is returned to the host mining communities, all the other streams of fiscal revenue originating from the mining sector accrue to the central government. Meanwhile, figures from the Ghana Revenue Authority show that the mining and quarrying sector regained its position as the leading source of direct domestic revenue last year.
All right, let's bring the story home. We want to take you to BBNE, where there is tension as jobless youth in the area demand release of concession of Medicine Gold mines for community mining. The local miners who besieged part of the company's price concession have pulled out, but there are risks of conflict if the youth do not get work to do. The chief of BBNE Old Town, Nana Kweno III, says a piece of the area rests on access to community mining for the youth. Love FM's Erastus Sasaredonko has more.
This is Kusie Mountain, also known as Elizabeth Hill, a place within the concession of Medicine BBNE gold mines. 2 weeks ago, the youth of BBNE took over this area to mine.
So the miners have dug pits like this, many of them across this hill. So they descend gradually to the belly of the earth and start digging, and they bring the items up as and when they go.
After our initial report, the place is now deserted. The miners have pulled out. But all is not well. There is simmering tension amongst the youth. They say the local economy has been hardest hit by the lull in operation of the Mensin gold mines.
This year, yeah, school fees, yeah, water bill, yeah, like baby, yeah. It's just so I'm pay papa, my mamma, no for needy. Now, your money, I won't tell you no chroma, what I have bread. A quiet to me, a bread, or my mamma, no so bread. It's just some minds of funnel, no pay papa, my mamma, be on the moment, and yet I'm pay papa, mom, no for near Juma.
Baby, I Juma, and into a mother quada, and penny for say, yeah, your massas, yabosono. Yeah, fro, Kusia Menaso. And almost was Elizabeth site.
At a press conference, leader of the small-scale miners, Ananga Barnabas, said Bibiani risks going into years of conflict with mining companies if the teeming jobless youth are not given areas to mine.
I'm a be aqua a quantum, a beer for who a bro any how a debar Kurumunenia as some ketua. Sabra and Yamusu. And then Yenny Asoria still now you see a baby and the most how this would for Babetta. And to say you one more, Mujidi say your man so almost sorry, almost metwaswana. Senkamene moi and Kadiabet and say Yenina Yenka, Yajun Pamo, Niempe baby, and my baby in Branti and Yajuma, Pims, and most tatia Juman and Necrana, Muntimin from Ranti Ukrumania. Ye dorso, Yaninam Nipa bear 10,000.
Mensin Bibiani mines have been out of operation for some time and the local economy is suffering. Many of the farming lands fall within restricted concessions of the company. The chief of Bibiani Old Town, Nana Kwano III, says it's in the interest of the company and the sustenance of peace that the locals are allowed to mine.
Yes, Romo pa say Jumano dear. Omunyansha see no. Yana say kucheshi ahun. Teresa council meeting. Ama ye hunse nanka adwumane ba be hyase ani. But yet no umsa san atweko bio. Ti ye pomo chew. So omunyansha adwuma se a asase nim sa aban de amom. No. Said de bi omo ka no, omo de a. Nanso omo adoma omo mrantie no ntena ho enidi kakra. Na breso. Sebrasun na se omba be ye omadwuma na ombe ka ye ne mranten be kasa na obi afiri ho no makwakoye omadwuma.
Conflict surrounding mineral extraction is not new to the Bibiani Old Town. A 1990 disagreement over possession of a concession led to a conflict between then Granco Mining Limited and the youth. 10 years later, similar confrontations claimed the life of a local miner at a time when AGC controlled the Bibiani mine. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Bibiani.
And you're watching Business Live. Still ahead, Deputy Minister Designate for Energy Andrew Agyapong-Mensah faced the Appointments Committee today, where he disagreed with former Energy Minister John Peter Mewu's description of the PDS ECG deal as fraudulent. Will be live in Parliament. Don't go anywhere.
On Moneylab today, we want to have a discussion on a very important topic, and that is whether it is possible to become financially independent by keeping an 8-to-5 job. In other words, being an employee. I'm sure we have all heard that in order to be a millionaire, you have to be a business owner. But the truth is that not all of us can be business owners. Majority of us find ourselves as employees. So what happens to us so far as our finances are concerned? There's nothing wrong with being an employee, but there's everything wrong with limiting yourself to being just an employee. In addition to being an employee, you can also be an investor by investing in various financial assets. You can also create multiple streams of income by owning businesses that can generate passive income for you. Whatever path you choose, the principles of personal finance still applies. Spend prudently and invest wisely. Please join us on the next edition of Moneylab as we continue our discussion on investments.
Now, welcome back. A little over 2 months since the introduction of the No ID, No Momo directive by MTN Ghana, there are mixed reactions among mobile money vendors. While some vendors are lamenting challenges with the system, others say there has been an improvement. There's more in the following report.
2nd of April this year, MTN Ghana rolled out its new directive of No ID, No Momo for customers who want to withdraw from their mobile money accounts. The move, which was expected to significantly reduce mobile money fraud, was met with some challenges. However, a little over 2 months since the introduction of the directive, some mobile money vendors tell Joy Business that there has been an improvement of the system, whilst others disagree.
Yeah, for now, I don't think there is any challenges. It was the beginning that was like, I've forgotten my IDs. Hey, since when? But now, it's not more there like it used to be. But what I still suggest is MTN people should create maybe something like an app so that even if the merchant key in a wrong number or if someone gives a wrong ID, you should know that it will reject it. Just like the way if you key in password it will tell you if it's wrong, it will tell you wrong ID or wrong password, so that it will help the merchants, because it's very, very hurting that sometimes someone can give you a wrong number or a wrong ID and then you key in, the person won't have any problem, but you, the merchant, will rather have a problem. This only cash out ID, at least, though it is good, we can't say it's not good, it's good, it's helping. At least they should advance it more.
The challenges is persisting. Why? Because some customers are refusing to do the right thing. What is happening is when they come, instead of them to produce their ID physically or on the phone, they will just tell you that they have the ID numbers in their head. They will mention it for you. You see, which is not right. Yes, at least we need to see it physically or a screenshot on the phone. I suggest that if something could be done, because you can't tell whether the ID number is mentioning is his own ID number or it's a right number or not. So I think something should be done. If maybe an update of the application should be done, especially when we enter the numbers, so that it will verify the name of the ID per se, so that at least we can confirm that we've got the exact numbers that we've entered.
Speaking to Joy Business, Chief Executive of MTN Ghana, Selom Adadivo, says MTN is working closely with the agents to address the issues that have been raised. According to him, there is an ongoing sensitization of agents to equip them with all the necessary tools they need to carry out the directive seamlessly.
Part of ensuring we have a safe and secure environment is to ensure we have enforcement around ID rules. This new intervention is one of those, and we're very supportive and working with the Mobile Money Agents group to make sure that some of the issues that customers have experienced are resolved once we hear of them. So some of the issues you've highlighted are issues that we're aware of, and re-education of agents are ongoing. It's an ongoing process, as well as making sure that the systems we've put in place are applied adequately. So we want to encourage all our customers to bear with us, but also to understand the reasons why we're doing this. It's for your own safety as customers, and we look forward to ensuring we get through this journey together.
The new system is expected to prevent the illegal practice where some people use mobile money wallets registered in the name of other persons due to the irregularities in the same registration.
Now, the National Petroleum Authority is partnering the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority to ensure that only well-trained and certified drivers transport fuel and LPG. According to a rep from the NPA, Esther Anku, the authority is also collaborating with key stakeholders to draw a manual to ensure less road accidents by vehicles transporting the products.
The National Petroleum Authority is partnering the Drivers and Vehicle Licensing Authority to ensure only well-trained and certified drivers transport fuel and LPG. A representative from the NPA, Esther Anku, revealed this at the launch of the 5th edition of Safety Week celebration.
Considering the hazardous nature of the products these BRVs carry, these accidents could have very devastating effects, such as what was experienced about 2 weeks ago at Onyinanofo in the Ashanti region, when a BRV accident there claimed 3 lives and destroyed several properties, including over 10 houses. Professor Chairman, to curb these accidents, the NPA, in collaboration with the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority and Road Safety Limited, has taken the necessary steps to comply with Section 53(1) of the Road Traffic Regulations 2012 LI 2180. And I want to state it here. A person shall not drive a motor vehicle intended for the transportation of hazardous goods unless that person, A, is trained and qualified to handle the motor vehicle and its contents, and B, is certified by the licensing authority to drive a motor vehicle that carries hazardous goods.
Chief Executive of the Association of Oil Marketing Companies, Kweku Ajimandia, says the Safety Week celebration is work in progress, and the continuous acknowledgement of the celebration is a gradual process to addressing challenges with regards to safety in the sector.
I remember when we started at the 3rd June, then we had atomic explosion. I mean, you'll be down, obviously, because you know you're trying to do something and it gets down. But that's what happens. You try to stir the whole thing up, then realize that, oh, this area. So you could see we are not having a consistent incident in a particular area. Now, the last time we had the gas incident is to do with contractor safety. One of the issues about management is that the places where you have the intersectional difficult. That's where you tend to have problems. Now you ask the question, where would this one lie? You say tanker owners. Well, but who employ tanker owners? It's OMCs. You know, so obviously we have to look at that as a holistic one. So we're going to take care of it. Just like the Chief Inspector for MPA said, we are going to take care of that one as well.
Meanwhile, Bismarck Autry, Managing Director for J&B Global Lifting, a third-party inspection company, is providing free services as a form of social responsibility during the Safety Week celebration.
The Safety Week celebration, we are offering free services to the LPG gas stations. The services we are providing for them are the NDT services, non-destructive test services. In that we make sure that the tanks that they use are not wary, because it's outside, it's at the mercy of the weather, so normally it normally rusts and all that. So we make sure that we go and check it and then make sure that everything's fine. We calibrate their temperature gauges and pressure gauges and check if everything is fine.
All right, Deputy Minister Designate for Energy, Andrew Japamesa, says he disagrees with former Energy Minister John Peter Mewu's description of the PDS ECG deal as fraudulent. Government terminated the deal in 2019 on claims the insurance covering the deal was acquired fraudulently. But Mr. Mesa says the minister got it wrong, and he says he does not see fraud anywhere in the deal. He said that when he addressed Parliament's Appointments Committee today. I promise you we are going to bring you the details on Joy News Prime, which is about 2 hours away. That's it for Business Live tonight. We have a big interview coming up on the marketplace for you tomorrow. Don't miss it. It's Charles Aite's interview with the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Stephanie Sullivan. She speaks to Joy Business on trade, COVID-19, illegal mining, and entrepreneurship. Don't miss it. It's at 1 p.m. tomorrow, 8th of June, 2021. And that's our program tonight. Thanks for watching. My name is Darryl Powell. We will be back same time tomorrow.